He said it once behind closed doors. Then he said it again, on live television. And now, the world is listening. President Donald Trump has ignited global shockwaves, once more, by publicly proposing something no U.S. leader has dared to suggest in over a century, the annexation of a friendly neighbor. But this time, the target isn't Cuba, it's Canada. And more specifically, Alberta. Welcome to the most controversial plan of Trump's new term, one that's shaking the very foundations of North American diplomacy. Because what began as an offhand remark at the G7 summit in Western Canada has now escalated into a fiery political debate. And behind the scenes, according to multiple anonymous sources with direct knowledge of high-level talks, it's a plan that's already being drafted. And here's where it gets wild. In early June, during the G7 gathering held just outside Calgary, Trump was overheard telling his aides, "If Alberta wants out, we'll take them in. They've got oil. We've got room." That single quote, leaked just hours later, sparked a media frenzy. Ottawa was blindsided. Diplomats scrambled. And in Alberta, something unexpected happened. Cheering. A fringe, yet fiercely energized movement erupted almost overnight, branding itself, "Make Alberta Great Again." With red hats, American flags, and roaring pickup trucks, pro-Trump rallies began filling small towns and rural highways. One protest in Medicine had even saw an effigy of Prime Minister Mark Carney tossed into a symbolic oil barrel marked "Eastern Interference." It sounds absurd. But behind the flags and slogans lies a deeper story. One rooted in frustration, alienation, and a feeling, shared by many in the West, that Ottawa just doesn't care. And that's where the real suspense begins. Because for years now, Alberta has been growing restless. Burdened by federal environmental rules, pipelines blocked by court decisions, and equalization payments flowing east, many in the province have asked a dangerous question. What if Canada is holding us back? In fact, new documents, allegedly leaked from Alberta's Ministry of Intergovernmental Affairs, reveal preliminary analysis on the economic impact of a cross-border integration. The report, stamped confidential and dated March 2025, explores everything from taxation alignment to defense cooperation with the United States. Premier Danielle Smith has publicly denied these claims. But behind closed doors, she hasn't exactly ruled anything out. During a fiery press conference last week, Smith declared, "Alberta will always explore what's best for Albertans. We're not signing off on Ottawa's groupthink just because they tell us to. We'll decide our own path." That statement came in response to Prime Minister Mark Carney's request for a unified condemnation of Trump's annexation talk, a request that Smith rejected. Instead of falling in line, Alberta went silent. And that silence has spoken volumes. But here's the twist: while Smith insists Alberta has no plans to join the United States, a newly formed political party in the province is openly campaigning for just that. Meet the Republican Party of Alberta. Founded just 4 months ago, the party is gaining traction among rural voters and oil industry workers. Their platform: independence from Canada, and immediate negotiations for U.S. statehood. Their leader, James Hensley, recently told a Calgary radio station, "We're not begging for scraps anymore. We want freedom, prosperity, and power. If that means becoming America's 51st state, so be it." Their petition has reportedly gathered over 300,000 signatures. And what started as political theater is now approaching the threshold for a legally binding provincial referendum. Ottawa is trying to downplay it. But Washington is listening. Inside the White House, senior officials have been spotted holding closed-door meetings labeled Northern Security Realignment. Trump himself has publicly mused about offering Alberta immediate tax relief and preferred economic status should they choose to break away. In one of his campaign stops in Ohio, Trump shouted to a roaring crowd, "They've got energy. We've got freedom. It's a perfect match." And according to insiders, Trump's missile defense plan, known as the Golden Dome Initiative, could be expanded to include Alberta in exchange for political alignment. That's not just provocative. That's strategic. But this path is far from simple. Experts warn that for Alberta to become part of the United States, multiple legal hurdles would have to be cleared. A clear referendum in Alberta. Approval by the Canadian Parliament. A vote by the U.S. Congress. And likely, a constitutional amendment on both sides. And yet, stranger things have happened. Trump supporters argue that Alberta would benefit from stronger gun rights, lower federal taxes, fewer environmental restrictions, and immediate military protection under NATO's strongest partner. Critics, however, warn that annexation would be a betrayal of Canadian sovereignty, and that it would plunge Alberta into unprecedented legal chaos. Prime Minister Carney has been blunt. Canada is not for sale. Not now. Not ever. He's accused Trump of turning foreign policy into a circus act, and reaffirmed his commitment to national unity, even proposing emergency legislation to block any secessionist vote deemed unconstitutional. Still, Alberta's discontent is growing. And in a world where politics can shift with a tweet, nothing is off the table anymore. So where does this leave us? Right now, Alberta stands at a political crossroads. It could choose to remain within a Canada it views as increasingly distant and dismissive. Or it could leap toward a future as the 51st state, enticed by power, wealth, and influence, but also shadowed by uncertainty and division. This isn't just about Alberta anymore. It's about identity, sovereignty, and the question no one expected to hear in 2025. What if Canada is no longer one nation? Stay with us, because the next 12 months could rewrite history.